Hi, my name is Alexis. My job is to help you get back with your ex, and as a relationship counselor, there's a concept that we use is the attachment theory. It's something that has been well documented, and in this video we're going to look at the avoidant attachment style. The question is whether you should get back with someone who has an avoidant attachment style. How can you get back with a person with an avoidant attachment style? And how can you make that person more secured? How can you make that person less avoidant towards you? All those questions answered after the jingle.
IGetMyExBack.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So attachment theory, it's something that was documented and well researched, and I'm using a lot of my content based on this book, Attached. I highly recommend you to buy the book, and the reason I disclose that I use this source is because I want to be very transparent with you. I didn't come up with that attachment theory, but I'm using it every day with my clients, and therefore I wanted to share this with you. The reason I'm using this attachment theory is because it applies to everyone, regardless of your age, regardless of whether you're heterosexual, homosexual, regardless whether you're single or in couple. It's very much a holistic approach, and it has been well documented and well researched. And this book is a reference. It has 10 years old, so you can basically use it. I'm not so much about a fan of the new concept of attachment theories, just because sometimes people just create new categories to make it more sophisticated. This is just highlighting the three major attachment theories that would basically help you understand your ex, help you understand how you behave in relationship. But let's get to avoidant attachment style, and how can you understand whether your ex, his, or yourself have this attachment style. It's sort of the tick box. If you tick all the boxes, then I guess you're very much avoidant. If you have few of them, maybe you're more of a secured and avoidant. But let's get to it. So perfection is someone who is really scared of failure. You know, that's really deep fear of failure. Gets bored after 3 or 6 months of relationship. And after being bored, they find only flaws in the relationship. They always complain about the other. Always sensitive to simple requests. It's sort of going against their strong desire for freedom. They avoid taking any responsibility in the relationship. Again, they take a lot of distance. Emotionally distant. It's really hard for them to provide that emotional support. They're not comfortable with affection, whether it's public display of affection or whether it's in the private, privately at home, for example. And they also have, not all, but I also have, I've read a research about that, addictive traits. So because they are struggling with their emotion, they will use that proxy to cope with emotions. So you have to understand something. We all have emotions. We all share the same brain, and we function more or less the same way, and we all have emotion. Anxious people will have that emotions will be more intense. Sometimes emotions will drive their behavior. Secure people will all have those emotions, but they'll be able to manage those emotions more efficiently. Avoidant attachment style, avoidant people, they have those emotions, but what they do is they suppress them. They try to ignore them. And that's why we have this sort of fear of failure, this addictive traits, sometimes being emotionally distant, is because they feel that they can put the emotions aside, and obviously they think it's a good strategy when it comes to growing up, but in relationship it's very much counterproductive, because as a partner we need to provide emotional support. So if you're an avoidant person, you have to acknowledge that you need to really work on that aspect of your personality, aspect of yourself, because, spoiler alert, you can work at being more secure. I'll explain after how to do it. So, is it harder or simpler to get back with an avoidant partner? As we mentioned before, their natural tendency is to break up after 3 or 6 months because they get bored of the relationship. So what about your relationship? Have you been with that person for more than 6 months? Have you been with that person talking about the future, talking about commitment? Because it's really the breaking point for those people. The thing is, we all want love. And I did a video before about the attachment style and why we have this deep need for attachment. That dependency is very important for us. Avoidant people all have this need as well. But in reality, there's a conflict between what they want, maybe having kids, having a family, building something with someone, and that inner fear of commitment. So the thing is, maybe this breakup is only the outcome of you activating their attachment style. And so we are more or less avoidant, more or less anxious, but depending on how we behave with our partner, we can activate this dormant attachment style. So you could be with someone very secure for years, but something happened where you became very anxious. Something happened where there's been a crisis mode in the relationship, and we would default to our primitive attachment and become more avoidant or become more anxious. So maybe it's because you were so anxious, maybe because you were so clingy, maybe because you were so needy that you activated that attachment style. So think that it's not over with your ex if he is or she is an avoidant. They still spy on your social media. They find ways to stay in touch. Maybe you have a dog, maybe you have stuff that you share. They left saying, I need space. They don't say, I don't love you anymore, I don't have feelings for you anymore. They say, I need space. And it is a really fundamental need for those people. They need that space. It doesn't mean that they don't need you in your life. They just need that space. And you need to figure out a way to create that relationship where they have that space while being secure with you. You are more secure. It's also as a result, as I discussed before, it's also as a result of how you behave. The more anxious you are, the more avoidant they are. And I'm going to look at this afterwards. You've been in no contact. This is the best way to reconnect with someone who's avoidant, is to really go no contact for a period of time, at least a month. Then, of course, you have to break no contact when you're dating an avoidant partner, because avoidant people, they will tend to stay avoidant and be complacent. So it's fine to test the water. And as usual, there are so many ways that I can't really explain because it depends on your case. But the idea is you have to do no contact. You have to give them that space. Another point that is really important is you know that they want to improve. Meaning that if they broke up, they needed that space, but they don't understand why. They don't understand that that fear of commitment will prevent them from being happy. That fear of commitment will prevent them from having a relationship with you or with anyone else. They will keep on reproducing the same mistakes. And they will do it with you, they would do it with anyone else. So really be sure that they are working on themselves, really understanding why they are so avoidant, how they can be more secure. Now, there's something you have to understand is the anxious avoidant trap. As I mentioned, we can activate our partner's unsecured attachment style. And I want to test a theory that I've read in the book, that I've read elsewhere, is that anxious people attract avoidant people and avoidant people attract anxious people. So I would like you to comment below in this video if you recognize yourself, and I want to see whether it's really the case. I want to really test this because sometimes we see theory, we see studies, but is it really what's happening out there? And the assumption is that we have that confirmation bias. So when we have a belief that, for example, a relationship is overwhelming, we will seek someone who is anxious to confirm that belief. Okay? And we will seek that person unconsciously, actually. And so an anxious person will date unconsciously someone who's avoidant, someone who is distant, because it will fuel that perception that relationship is hard, it's hard work, you have to fight, it's stressful. Okay? And so you create that dynamic, but it's unconscious. I'll be very curious to see whether you're anxious and your partner is avoidant, or you're avoidant and your partner is anxious, to see whether it really applies. And if it doesn't, let me know as well, because I want to know as well. Be very curious if it's like 50% of the relationship, if it's 60, if it's 80%. So yeah, please do comment, I want to know. So, but the thing is, you have to break this cycle. It's very important. If you want to get back with them, if you want to get them more comfortable with the relationship, you have to break this cycle, because the more anxious you are, the more avoidant they'll be. You don't have thousands of ways to do it. You have to reset the relationship. There's this dynamic, this vicious circle has to be reset. So, get some help at being more secure. It starts with you. Managing your emotion, understanding how you function, understanding the root cause of this anxiety. So seek some help from a therapist, a counselor like myself, to really understand how you can be more secured. Because by being secured, your partner will be secured. Okay? The more anxious you are, the more avoidant they'll be. If you want to get back with someone who's avoidant, you have to be less anxious and a little bit more avoidant. You need to do this anyway. Regardless, if you're an anxious person and you want to get back with an avoidant person, you have to work on your anxiety attachment style. The reason is that it's not going to help you as only to get back with your ex, but if it doesn't work, it's going to help you with your next relationship. It's going to help you find as well the right person, because you're going to stop trying to look for avoidant people and you'll see clearly about what you want in a relationship. It also depends on him. And that's the question mark. Getting back with the person with an avoidant attachment style depends on him, whether he or she wants to be more secure, whether he or she wants to acknowledge that they actually did a few things wrong in the relationship, that they sort of left you, that they abandoned the relationship. Can my ex change to be more secure? It's a question I got from a WhatsApp group the other day. If you want to know what our WhatsApp group, have a look in the description. I've created WhatsApp groups for people to connect, like-minded people who are going through the same situation as you are. And it's very interesting to see the conversation, because people are sharing their stories and people feel better that they're not the only one in that situation. Also sharing tips. The way I mixed male and female, people with different relationships, people from different countries. So we have very interesting conversation in those groups. Have a look in the description. I will put a link for you to apply and join one of those groups. Can you exchange? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And you can change as well. So the thing is, they need to do the same work that you're doing right now. You're watching video to learn more about yourself, to learn how you could be more secure, how to find a more secure partner, but they have to do the same. Are they in the growth mindset, i.e., do they really believe that they can change? Some people, they think like, I'm like this, I'll never find someone, I don't want to be with someone more than 6 months, and I'm fine with it, and that's the way it is, and it will never change. If your partner is like this, you're fighting the wrong battle, move on. If you know that your partner is really vulnerable and wants to work on themselves, then there's a chance for you to get back together. However, and this is where I would need your help as well, you're the last person they want to hear advice from. Even when you're in a relationship, it's really hard to take advice from your partner because you feel judged. So after a breakup, they clearly want to hear from anyone else but you the type of things like, you should be doing this, you should read this, you should read that. However, if you want to get back with someone like that, they need to work on themselves. So how do you do that? I don't know. So if you have any ideas of how you can influence your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife and let them understand more about their attachment style, let them understand how they can be more secured, because that's the only way they could get back, you can rekindle that relationship. Let me know if you have any suggestions on how to do it, because I don't know any way, apart from me picking up the phone and calling your ex-wife or husband, telling them, yeah, so I've got your number from your ex-wife, and she's telling me that, you know, you should be more secure, and let's have a session together. It doesn't really work that way. So I don't know exactly how we could do it, but it's really about them trying and wanting to work on themselves and improving themselves. So there was a lot of ask, and I hope you'll contribute in the comment section. If you want more videos like this, you can do is to click on the like, press on the like button. It will really help this video to be suggested elsewhere on YouTube. But you can also subscribe to the channel and have a look in the description. There's also other links if you want to know what is your attachment style. There's a quiz for that. If you want to know if you have any chance to get back with your ex, there's a quiz for that as well. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.